What's up everybody, Skratch coming up with another video. In this video I want to talk about how ignore defense works and to break the myth and all the rumors saying that you can ignore more than 100% of the target's defense. So before we move over to the Mythbusters part of the video, I just want to help you understand and clarify for all the community how ignore defense and sets that add similar bonuses to your champions work, like savage sets, cruel sets. Let's take Rotos for example. So we have his A3 that ignores defense by 75%. Here is where all the confusion starts. People think that if you give him a savage set or helm smasher, that will make him ignore 100% of the target's defense, which is not the case, because those two values are actually not additive, are multiplicative. So it's not like 75% plus 25% equals 100. We're talking about raid here, Plarium, so that doesn't make sense to them. 75 plus 25 equal 100. No, for them it works differently. So for example, if I have my Rotos on a savage gear and a cruel set, that should give me an actual 30% extra more ignore defense, so I would be on 105% ignore defense. But the actual value I gain from there is only 17.8% more. So you add 75% plus 17.8% more. That's the real value you will get from a savage set and cruel set on Rotos, so it will not get you near 100% ignore defense. The way you find the results, and this can be used on any other champions that have a skill and doesn't ignore defense by 100%, like Rutraxa, Mountain King, or other champions like that. I chose Rotos as an example just because it's the easiest to understand, and that's where most of the confusion starts from. So we have the target's total amount of defense, which is 100% at the lowest value of 1. So that brings us to 1 defense actually, okay? So from that amount, you minus the 75% from his skill. So you minus from 100 or from 1, you minus 75%, and that will leave you with 25%, aka 0.25% if we go to the lowest value of 1. Then you will do the same exact things with the value that you get from the savage set and the cruel set. So from 100% you minus the 25%, which will leave you with 0.75 or 75%, and you minus the cruel, which will leave you with 5%. And then you're gonna separately multiply all these values. So 0.25 multiply with 0.75 multiply with 0.95, and that will equal 1.78 or 17.8%, which is the real bonus you will get from a savage set and a cruel on Rotos, for example. And that, how I said, will have different values for every single champion that has a similar skill with Rotos that doesn't ignore defense by 100%. Now, moving over to the Mythbuster part of the video, and all these rumors that are been going around for like months now, people saying that you can actually ignore more than 100% of the target's defense. So we have Bloodgorge right here. This skill attacks one enemy, will ignore defense. So this skill will ignore defense by 100%, okay? So we'll ignore the full amount of the target's defense. Now, people are saying in the next way, if you had a champion like Rotos, like Faceless, like what's his name, Royal Huntsman, and you had a savage set on them, you had a helm smasher, you will ignore way more defense, so you will be actually going into negative. But that's a thing that's not actually true, so I've done a lot of testing before I can actually come and confirm this to you guys. So this is actually not true at all. So if any of you guys actually went and failed for it and threw on it helm smasher instead of flawless execution on your snipers, make sure you guys change it, because it doesn't increase the damage you're doing by nothing. So what I've done, I tested a lot in the Dragon using on the same target, keep on using his A3. So right now he's on a savage set, a speed set, 4.8k attack, 96 crit rate, 261 crit damage, 184 speed, which it doesn't really matter. I gave him these stats just because I tried to balance the same stats I had on his previous gear, so I didn't want it to go too crazy on it. That's why I have this ring on him as well. So I'm gonna take him in the Dragon. So we do have a 20% RNG or 25, I can't even remember, for the hit to be different on the champions. But I'm gonna show you now. So if we apply defense down and we're gonna use his A3, it's not gonna make a difference rather than not using any debuff at all. Just for the simple fact that defense down doesn't affect 100% ignore defense. So we got 102k hit, pretty low damage there just from that hit. Now, if I'm gonna change that around, and instead I'm gonna apply weaken now, for example, okay? So I'm gonna take Draco in so he can apply weaken for me. He's gonna put, actually no, he's gonna put the defense down. That might be confusing for you, and you're gonna tell me I'm not showing it to you right. So I'm gonna increase my attack here, so I have attack up. I'm gonna attack a different other champion just to make sure I have time with Arbiter to go and place weaken there. So we put weaken, increase the thermometer back, so now you're gonna notice a huge difference in the damage. So we got almost 20k extra damage from that hit. Now, weaken, it does affect the damage by a flat amount, so a 25%. Defense down does not affect 100% ignore defense by any means. Same way Savage set doesn't affect it either. So what I'm gonna do now quick, I'm just gonna change the gear back to his old gear where it's not on a Savage set, and show you guys that we're gonna get exactly the same result. Now I know I haven't done a lot of runs to show you, but I've done myself on stream with 150 people that they saw that. We've done like 20, 30, 40, 50 runs with Blood Gorged on Savage and without Savage, and we got the exact same numbers. Right, so we changed the gear on him. We have him on all sort of broken sets. How you can see, the only bonus set we get from here is the crit damage. The only thing we have slightly different on him, I kind of lost 100 attack, but then I gained around 7 more crit damage, if I remember it right. So let's just say it kind of balanced in between more or less. It shouldn't be like a huge difference in numbers, only by a couple of hundreds or something like that overall in the damage we're gonna see in the scrims. Still the same masteries with flawless execution for tier 6. So let's take it out in for a spin again in the dragon, see if we notice any difference in damage, if we get lower damage than we got on Savage. You've seen the hits before, so let me just crack on it here, increase that attack up, use the skill randomly on somebody else so we can actually place that weaken on Tyrell, boost the thermometer, and then use the A3. 127k. We hit the same numbers with Savage, with Cruel, with anything else. So this is just a fake rumor. There are a lot of other rumors in the game, like you would get 25% extra crit rate if you're going on against of a weak affinity. So example, if you put on Royal Guard 75 crit rate and you go on the Spider 20, which is Spirit affinity, so it's the weak affinity to magic, you will always crit because you get a bonus of 25% crit rate, which is not true. Or if you're attacking a stronger affinity like magic attacks force and you increase that crit damage by 25%, so you give 125% crit damage on your champions, they say that you will always crit, but again, that's not true. So it's just all nonsense. I haven't heard nobody talking about this, especially from a new player starting in the last 6 months probably, but a lot of old players, they used to talk this nonsense long time ago, so it's not real. Same way you cannot ignore more than 100% of the target's defense. I don't know how some of the games there they let you go into the negative, but when I heard this I just kind of didn't want to believe it, because how can you ignore more than 100% of something that only has 100%, you know? So it just didn't make sense whatsoever. I hope you guys found it helpful. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I clarified how ignore defense works, how the bonus sets from a Savage set, ignore defense, they add up to champions that don't ignore defense by 100% and that are useless to be used on champions that are ignoring defense by 100%. Of course, useless for that specific skill, but not for the other skills that they have. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe for more content, turn on notifications to see when we upload next. Drop a comment below, let me know what you think about it. If you know any other sort of myths there, we can start a new series, myth bust everything in the game. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you all soon on another video. Till then, peace out and take care.